Eliyahu M. Goldratt and Jeff Cox. The Goal: a process of ongoing improvement. Imagine that you are the manager of a manufacturing plant that is facing difficulties or is expected to improve its productivity. The situation is critical, as the company's collapse would put your job at risk. How would you tackle this significant challenge? One of the primary objectives of any manufacturing plant is to achieve profitability. This objective requires a focus on maximizing efficiency, reducing waste, and increasing output. However, achieving these goals is incredibly complex and challenging. It demands a deep understanding of the plant's production processes and a willingness to embrace change like never before. If you were landed with this situation, what would you do? Enter Alex Rogo, a factory manager rushing to save his factory from closing. His story holds valuable insights and solutions for how to save a failing company. This blank follows Rogo's journey and the framework he used to tackle the challenges facing his manufacturing plant. By learning from his trials and tribulations, you'll discover a thing or two that might just help save your company in the future. Uncover and overcome bottlenecks to improve profitability. Alex Rogo was at his wit's end. His factory was failing, and he couldn't seem to pinpoint the problem. Production was slow, and customer orders were piling up, causing delays and reduced productivity. As he walked through the plant, he noticed a particular machine struggling to keep up with demand. It wasn't until he investigated the business from end to end that he realized the machine was causing a bottleneck, resulting in the backlog of work and reduced productivity throughout the manufacturing process. Rogo knew he had to act fast to save his struggling factory. Rogo decided to implement a series of experiments to increase the machine's capacity and reduce the amount of inventory in the system. Out of these experiments emerged a number of lessons that Rogo applied to other areas of the factory. One of the most valuable of these insights was the realization that manufacturing plants can have multiple bottlenecks at the same time. While addressing one bottleneck can lead to an improvement in the system's overall performance, other bottlenecks may still emerge. This highlights the importance of continuously monitoring the production process and proactively identifying new bottlenecks as they arise. By doing so, Rogo was able to stay ahead of potential disruptions and ensure that his operations remained efficient and productive. During his efforts to address the bottleneck in his plant, Alex Rogo found that simply increasing the capacity of the bottleneck machine could lead to unintended consequences. Instead, he had to strike a delicate balance between the machine's capacity and the demand for its output, adjusting it as necessary to optimize the system's overall performance. By doing so, he was able to improve the plant's efficiency while avoiding any negative effects on other parts of the production process. At the end of the day, identifying and addressing bottlenecks in a timely manner makes the manufacturing process more efficient, reduces waste, and increases profitability. It's important to remember that you won't face the same bottlenecks forever. They can change over time. In short, continuous monitoring is a key strategy for ensuring that manufacturing operations run smoothly. Success in manufacturing requires balancing throughput, inventory, and operational expenses. When maximizing profitability in the manufacturing plant, there are three essential metrics to prioritize: throughput, inventory, and operational expenses. Remember that it's not just about keeping an eye on the numbers. You have to learn to optimize them to make meaningful improvements. Rogo's story is a perfect example of this. When he faced a major crisis in his struggling plant, he turned things around by focusing on these 3 metrics. By increasing the speed of the machine causing the bottleneck, he improved the throughput, which led to increased profitability. He also tackled the issues of excess inventory, freeing up more money that he could use somewhere else in the manufacturing process. And by reducing operational expenses, he was able to save money and make his plant more sustainable in the long run. What's inspiring about Rogo's story is how he used these metrics to guide his decision-making. He didn't just rely on his gut instinct. He analyzed the data and used it to make data-driven decisions. As a result, he was able to maximize his limited resources and get the best possible results. Here's the best part. You can do the same thing to save your plant. By monitoring throughput, inventory, and operational expenses, you can identify areas for improvement and make meaningful changes. You can optimize your production process, reduce waste, and increase profitability, all while keeping your workers happy and motivated. So don't let a crisis bring you down. Follow Rogo's footsteps and use the power of these metrics to take your plant to the next level. With a little focus and dedication, you can achieve great things and create a success story that will inspire others for years to come. Harness the power of data science to solve problems. Being data-driven is key to successfully managing a manufacturing plant. Jonah, an esteemed college professor and Rogo's mentor, always emphasized the importance of using a scientific approach to problem-solving and decision-making. After taking Jonah's advice to heart, Rogo was able to effectively address the bottleneck that had been delaying production progress at the plant. This success led him to identify 3 key steps for leveraging scientific principles to drive plant productivity. First, start off by formulating a hypothesis about the problem. This step requires you to make an educated guess about what might be causing the issue. The second step is to design an experiment that can test your hypotheses. This way, you can easily gather data and analyze the results. And finally, you have to be willing to adjust your approach based on the data, refine your hypotheses, and continuously experiment until you find a reliable solution. Guided by Jonah's wisdom, Rogo used this 3-step approach to tackle the operational bottleneck in his factory. He hypothesized the machine was not working at full capacity, causing inventory backup. He then designed experiments to increase the machine's output and reduce inventory. Eventually, by analyzing the data, he found the right solution to the problem, a balance between capacity and demand. The beauty of the scientific method is that it takes the guesswork out of decision-making and allows you to make informed choices based on analyzing actual data rather than just intuition. It can also help you avoid common business pitfalls, such as making assumptions or jumping to conclusions without all the facts. By embracing the scientific method in your plant, you too can create a culture of continuous improvement. You can encourage your team to think critically and systematically about problems and to use data to inform their decision-making. This step will foster more effective problem-solving skills, better use of resources, and lead to a more profitable plant. Plants are powered by people, so keep your workers involved. Managing a manufacturing plant is not just about optimizing the production process. It's also essential to consider the human factor. After all, The success of any plant is ultimately dependent on the people who work there. Rogo, for one, learned that involving his workers in the improvement process is crucial. He recognized that consistently checking in with them and keeping their motivations and needs at the forefront was vital for the plant's success. He recognized that the workers had valuable insights and ideas for improving the plant's performance, so he made sure to leverage their knowledge. By involving them in the problem-solving processes, he shone light on all available expertise around him, creating a more efficient and effective system. Rogo also learned that worker satisfaction and motivation were critical factors in the plant's success. He discovered that by giving workers more autonomy and a sense of ownership over their work, he could increase their productivity and engagement. He also realized that job security and work-life balance influenced worker satisfaction and retention. By being aware of the human factor in his plant, Rogo created a more cohesive and motivated team. He acknowledged that the workers were not cogs in a machine, but valuable contributors to the plant's success. It's not surprising that involving the workers in the improvement process led to better results. By making them feel invested in the plant's performance, Rogo was able to create a more sustainable system. Their positive sentiment helped him achieve his goal. Rogo's success as a manager wasn't ultimately defined by numbers, but by his workers' trust in him. This is the essence of the human factor. By valuing your workers' professional growth as a vital component of your plant's development, you can better understand its impact on the bottom line. Success is about consistently, so improve continuously. Ultimately, nothing works without a commitment to continuous improvement. This makes it essential to continuously monitor the plant's performance and look for ways to improve it, even after overcoming initial crises. Rogo's story highlights the importance of prioritizing continuous improvement and making it a part of a plant's culture. He realized there was always room for positive change even after tackling the initial crisis in his plant. By setting up systems to monitor the plant's performance and identify new bottlenecks or inefficiencies, he made continuous adjustments that led to greater profitability and efficiency. One example of continuous improvement was Rogo's realization that the plant needed to make the most of its resources. By reorganizing the production process and optimizing the use of machines and workers, he increased the plant's efficiency and reduced costs to boot. This process of constantly seeking out new ways to enhance the plant's performance helped to foster and sustain a culture of excellence, resulting in a highly efficient and productive system. Prioritizing continuous improvement is crucial for the long-term success of any manufacturing plant. To achieve this, you can set up systems to monitor the plant's performance, involve your workers in the improvement process, and be open to new ideas and approaches. By following these steps, you can create a more efficient, productive, and profitable plant that strives for excellence. At the end of the day, it's clear that your plant needs to be ready and willing to change to stay sustainable and profitable. And Rogo's story shows us that a commitment to progress is essential for boosting productivity, efficiency, and profits across the board. So, don't be afraid to shake things up and try new approaches. Keep monitoring your plant's performance, involve your workers, and stay open to fresh ideas. By continuously striving for improvement, you'll be able to create a high-performing, successful plant that can weather any challenges that come your way. The main takeaway of this link to the goal by Eliyahu M. Goldratt and Jeff Cox is that Alex Rogo's story is a great example of how taking a holistic approach to managing a manufacturing plant can lead to success. By being practical and realistic, Rogo was able to optimize the production process, embrace data-driven progress, prioritize his workers' well-being, and commit to continuous improvement. By accomplishing these goals, a thriving and sustainable plant can be created that can withstand any crisis that may arise. Thank you so much for listening.